Hey there Starseekers, welcome back to the channel. My name's Luke and today I'm bringing you a review for a quirky little title known as the Procession to Calvary. It's a point and click adventure game whose surreal storyline sees you playing as this lady soldier woman who, after coming out of the other side of a holy war, is not particularly pleased with no longer being able to kill people or the fact that the overthrown tyrant known as Heavenly Peter still lives. She then embarks on a mission which sees her engaging in all manner of oddities as she attempts to track down the bugger and end him once and for all. Now it's clear that the game's visuals and humour are heavily influenced by the legendary Monty Python, and as a bit of a superfan myself, I was very interested in finding out how well this particular style of surrealist comedy worked in a game. So let's get on right into this review, and don't forget to subscribe to be notified of future reviews. So the Procession to Calvary is a Pythonesque romp through a world created entirely from Renaissance-era paintings. The game originally released on Steam back in April of this year, and it was recently ported to the Switch, where it can be picked up for £13.49 on the UK eShop and $14.99 on the US eShop. Now, to avoid spoilers, I'm not going to be going into too much depth with the game's storyline or any of the happenings in the game, and I'll only be showing a few snippets of its puzzles, but hopefully this will give you enough of an idea whether or not the game is for you. So the storyline of Procession to Calvary is about as ludicrous as it gets without going full Python and stepping into what the f*** am I playing territory. You play as this unnamed lassie who is merrily going about her business, killing people and whatnot, and all is well, until that is the Holy War abruptly ends and she's told that she's no longer allowed to kill people. Now the newly erected leader, Immortal John, is a bit of a spoilsport and doesn't believe in murder, but it turns out that the previous leader, a tyrant known as Heavenly Peter, is still alive, and John really doesn't like the chap, and so John and our hero come to an agreement that she can travel south, hunt down Heavenly Peter, and stick him with the pointy end of a poking stick. Now throughout the game the surreal storyline is kept up and there's plenty of silliness to be had with its narrative. You'll meet up with a magician, enter a talent contest, watch two men having a naked tussle on a beach, and of course, speak with God. While the game doesn't quite reach Python levels with its humour, it still has that witty and satirical edge to it, and there are still plenty of occasions which had me laughing out loud. Now the world itself is really well put together, with each area comprised of numerous pieces of Renaissance art all Frankenstein together. The world also makes no effort whatsoever to explain some things to you, like why is there a naked archer standing on a rock, why is this guy's key so massive, or what the hell this book creature thing is. 5 minutes into the game though, you'll likely have come to terms with this agreement and be prepared to expect the unexpected, even the Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition!
Anyway, enough of that silliness, let's get into the gameplay. So as you might expect, this being a point and click adventure of course, you're going to be doing plenty of pointing and clicking. You move your pointer with your left thumbstick, click to move your character somewhere, and you can double click to speed her up and at the same time do a silly little run. After moving your pointer over a person or an interactable feature, you can then click to get a very simple verb coin interaction menu from which you can select one of 3 options. You can use your hand to do things such as picking up objects or punching people in the head. Use your mouth to talk to people or attempt to eat things, and use your eyeball to look at things, whereby you're often given a rather humorous explanation of your subject. Now progressing through the game is usually a matter of solving puzzles, and this generally requires you to first find out what someone needs from you and then seek out a particular item in order to achieve your objective. The items you obtain are stored within your inventory, accessible from the top of the screen, and to avoid adding any unnecessary confusion, they generally only have one purpose. Now, despite the narrative not always making much sense, the puzzles in the game are all pretty logical, and once you acquire an item, you really shouldn't have much issue with identifying where or how you use it. If, however, you find yourself a little stuck or just really can't be bothered with all of this puzzling lark, you can whip out your sword and use it to bypass them. Though be warned, there will be consequences to your actions, and the game has multiple endings, some of which come out of nowhere. So the Procession to Calvary isn't an overly long game, clocking in at about the 2 or 3 hour mark, but I have to say I found it a joy to play from start to finish. While its art style is heavily influenced by Terry Gilliam's vignettes and its humour has all the hallmarks of Python ludicrousy, it mostly does its own thing with the narrative. There is of course the odd nod of respect here and there, but there was just enough silly humour to keep me entertained, and it didn't come across as being too try-hardy. Now when it comes to the visuals and audio, there's really very little I could criticise here. I've always loved Gilliam's silly little cartoons, and while the game's art style embraces the essence of what made them so great, they don't quite reach his level of genius or surrealism due to them being taken from famous pieces of art. The way in which they're used though and all the little tweaks work really well, and I thought the dev did a great job of incorporating them into the narrative. On the audio side of things, we get some entertaining sound effects, but nothing overly special. But I did really like how the game's music was implemented, with each of the game's areas having characters playing different instruments and different renditions of famous classical pieces. So when it comes down to whether or not you should buy the game, I'd say that the Procession to Calvary is definitely one to pick up if either A, you're a fan of point and click adventure games, or B, you're a fan of Monty Python and that kind of silly humour. When it comes to my own personal rating of the game, I'm going to be giving the Procession to Calvary 4 out of 5 stars. The Procession to Calvary is one of those games that you won't forget in a hurry. While the genre may be a little niche and its humour won't be for everyone, I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and I'm hoping that Joe Richardson's other game, 4 Last Things, also gets a port to the Switch sometime in the near future. And that just about does it for this review of the Procession to Calvary on the Nintendo Switch. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed it and it helped you out. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game and what your favourite Python sketch of all time is in the comments section below, and if you've not already done so, consider subscribing to the channel. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.